I am Nicolette Bond, and I had three goals for the portfolio class. One of them was to finish up the game project that I was working on at the beginning of class for the Sunfest Game Jam of 2022, and we successfully submitted before the deadline with a game that had four main characters and around five scenes each with unlockable endings. And then for the rest of this class, I wanted to get started on a new game, and that game was Fly On Home. And it is currently still in development, but we did make a lot of progress throughout the semester, and I will talk about that a bit. I did want to note that I was able to get all of my game projects up on my personal portfolio website. I noticed after talking to a few narrative designers in the SGDA Summit of this year that a lot of narrative designers have websites which they are often given an opportunity to present during interviews or on their applications. And that's a good way for writers to present their work and also artists as well. But because we don't have an art station or any website like that, it's a good way to present your work alongside being published. First, I want to talk about my first project of the semester, which started in the summer, and that is Moments in Mia's. My role for this project was the narrative designer slash lead game writer slash editor. I'll kind of give you a little gist of what this game is about. When society was still learning how to navigate the ongoing pandemic, a new job at a local store creates an opportunity to learn more about the small community surrounding it. You, the player, will be able to discover the stories of your customers and coworker as you stock shelves and sell items. From dealing with loss to navigating life's purpose, you can guide people through the perils that they face, often just by lending a helpful ear, all just in a few moments in Mia's. We made this during the summer of 2022 when the pandemic was still calming down a bit. People were learning to take off their masks because the mandates were going down. So we had just gone through this, and we wanted to create a game where we felt like our experiences through the pandemic and our struggles were able to be properly addressed. And I feel like we successfully did that in this game. I will say there is one issue that we have with the game currently. There is a programming bug that when the player selects specific choices, the output is not always the correct output. It might output the correct output and then the incorrect output. So we're currently trying to fix that problem. I looked at it with a couple programmers, and we still haven't been able to find the solution. But because I really care about this project and the work that I did for it, I want to fix it. And also, I want to fix a bit of the lighting and the stocking of the shelves in the background. It could be a little bit prettier. To talk a little bit about the characters I worked on, my characters were Raina, Drew, and small character in Drew's storyline, Stella, his little sister. Just say who they are. Raina is a geek and a book reader and a gamer, and she's really shy. But if you're able to open her up and unlock her ending, her main struggle is that she has had a rape experience in the midst of the pandemic. Because of that experience, she is unable to really socialize as well as people as she used to because she lost a lot of friends through because of the pandemic, and she wanted to make more friends by going to the store. That friend misused her trust. So you, the player, has to help her fix her trust and help her understand that there are good people out there. Again, there's really deep issues addressed in this game. And Drew and Stella come into the store a lot. And they're in elementary school, and little sister, I think, is in preschool. So they're very young, and it's odd to see them come in without a parent. You soon figure out that Drew has to take on a lot of responsibilities for his age because his father has COVID and because his mother recently passed away from COVID. And you have to basically give these kids back their childhood. Like, Drew has to be very mature, and he is not expressing a lot of the things that he feels. And you have to give him a space to be comfortable with that. And also, you give them the chance to give them Christmas, where you decorate the store all Christmassy, and then they get to have this whole Christmas in the store, which is such a sweet scene. I love that scene. But I also wanted to say that I managed and edited for the writing team. I took initiative to guide 3 other writers. We did get 2 other characters from Core and Kristen. Those characters were Nathan and Elijah. And I gave them a lot of tips on how to write their scripts. I gave them advice on how to make a good character, how to script write, how to make a satisfying story. And these are all documents full of advice and strategies based on things that I've learned through my writing courses. I also wanted to show the dialogue spreadsheet that we used in order to move the scripts into a format that would work for the programmer. And this is basically what it looks like. We have all the scripts out with like where the choices happen and when the SFX plays, when an item is being selected, just everything is in this document so that all the programmer has to do is you put this into a text file and basically have specific variables that based on when it occurs in the spreadsheet will start a certain thing. So all he had to do was copy paste and it would work with the code that he created way before we finished the scripts. So it was very efficient. I have a folder with everybody's scripts. They're very long, and I asked them to do them in script format so that if they ever decided to present this for an application as a writer, that they would be able to use this in the future. I also wrote the intro and outro of the game, and I wanted to read the intro just to, actually, you know what? Let's read this in game just to give you an idea of how this game works. There's no music at this point, but there will be music. Today, I'm starting my new job. Once COVID-19 hit, I was one of the many who got laid off. This new job is just a last resort so I can pay back my landlord, but I have hope that in this commonplace 9 to 5, there will be others, longing for someone to say hi or ask about their day, and that we can help each other move forward because there are riots in the streets. Voices I once heard every day only reach me when I'm plugged in. I miss the ones who never answer. I miss the ones who can no longer answer. I want there to be somewhere to go and someone to meet there. I want to remember people's smiles, but will we ever take off our masks? When can I breathe easily again? When can I connect I love yous or I hate yous to an emotion that cannot be delivered? I'm stuck in a world that is waiting for our old normal to see one another again, to hold each other, to mourn these past months, then maybe, just maybe, recover. But I'm scared because we still keep getting older, and I don't want any more wasted time. And this is where it goes into the game tutorial, but I'll skip some of this just so I can show you how the game works. There's multiple days, and you can choose to talk to specific people more, and based on who you choose and what choices you make, you can unlock their ending. But you won't be able to unlock all of their endings, only some of theirs, and only if you make the right choices. But here's Nathan. Oh, well, I guess I should probably talk to one of my characters. So here's Brew. The lighting is definitely can be improved. I will work on that. But yeah, this is kind of how it looks. Sometimes there are sound effects. I don't believe there's any in any of the intro scenes. And then they change their position eventually, yeah, based on the dialogue. But it's a really wholesome / emotional video game, and I think I'm really proud of having at least written for it, because I think it was a story that was meant to be told. I created this narrative design chart, which basically this chart has our planning for the characters to get better in depth into who they are as people, and we also created scene by scenes to kind of plan how we were aiming for their character arc, and just to make sure that we had an idea of what we wanted to write before we actually wrote our scripts. I did a little bit of art for the game. It was mainly just stuff for the itch.io, the art for the page. But yeah, primarily just writing and editing. Oh, I edited everybody else's scripts very in depth. I edited them. So that took a long time. But, oh, this is one other game that I made during the summer. And now to talk about the game that I'm currently working on, which is Fly on Home. Other people in this class who are in my project are Logan and Jeffrey. But to give you a little bit of a preview as to what the game is, it's a Studio Ghibli type game about a mother and daughter. The protagonist, Delilah, is too young to understand why her mother is sad. They move into a new house after her grandmother's funeral, and Delilah opens boxes to find a hummingbird feeder. She wants to hang it up because she used to watch the hummingbirds go by with her mother and grandmother. She thinks this will make her mom happy, but after preparing the ingredients for the birds, she accidentally drops and breaks the feeder. A hummingbird appears and takes her on this magical journey to try and repair the feeder. In the meantime, the mother is panicked trying to find her daughter. This is a story about bringing family together, and Delilah needs to realize that to make her mother happy, she needs to come back home. And my role for this project was a lot of things. Primarily the producer, manager, and writer. But I also helped with game design, Unity development, and also art. A little bit of art, but I only really do the art when needed. So I did a lot of team management, and I wanted to show some of the things I did, which is create this in-depth schedule, which was part of the class project. And I found it very helpful to make sure that I stayed generally on track, although near the end, with everybody becoming a little bit less available with finals and people generally being more tired in the winter, we weren't able to fully finish everything we wanted, which was 2 levels. We finished 1, but that's all right. This is the start to a larger game. And I created a set of rules, like how to give constructive criticism, some advice for like when people are less available or they don't want to commit as much, what to do about it. And this is, I've seen this generally work for my past groups. We had meetings for a while, not near the end, but we had meets every week. And this is one of the meeting notes that I took. Also, we had a very in-depth asset list, which I saw seemed to work pretty well with making sure that we got a lot of the things done, but also the descriptions helped when I wanted to tell the artist what I wanted. So as the writer, I came up with this story, and this story is very important to me because my grandmother passed away in 2020, and having grown up with her, she always put up this bird feeder, and the birds would always come flying over to it. And I used to grow up looking at the birds all the time, and my grandmother would talk about them. And when I took the hummingbird feeder from the house when I moved away, the birds stopped coming as much. So I like to think that it was a little bit of magic that that she brought to us through putting up that hummingbird feeder. And when she did pass away, I started to see a lot of hummingbirds around. A part of me would like to think that she was watching over me like a guardian angel. And this story is me personifying that idea. I will say a little bit of the level design. We have a home level, and then we have Witheria, which is where Delilah goes into a forest of clouds and cloud creatures, and you can fall through the clouds. Lost Veggies, I'm so excited for this area, where it's basically a mix between a deserted farm town and a festival location. And there's like a bunch of empty fields where the houses should be. And what you have to do is find the seeds and plant them so that the houses grow. And then the cool party veggies come out and tell you a bit more about where you should be going to fix the hummingbird feeder. And then the fairyland, you are able to find the tree where the sap can fix anything. At the very end, Delilah is told by the great tree that her mom is struggling. So she realizes that she has to come home, and they have this really sweet reunion and really deep discussion about loss. Oh yeah, I did a lot of concept sketches in regards to the UI because I saw someone else do this in a previous project that I did, and it helped a lot when the programmer had to come in and also when the artists were making their art. So I just showed a little bit of how the animation should go, some buttons and what they do, just a lot of design, text boxes, loading screens, and I made the references sheet for the class, and that actually helped us get started on a lot of level design. And currently I'm doing a lot of Unity work by setting up the tile maps, interactable objects, and levels. I also did a little bit of art, little bit of sprite sheets, pixel art, text boxes, but mainly just management and design. And I'm really excited for this project. This is some of the art. This is Jeffrey's. Yeah, I also found the team, and that was a big part of this semester. And I will now show you some gameplay, which is only from the first level, and it's not completely done, but it is at least playable. So this is the title screen, and I made a quick recording of the gameplay because it was a little difficult recording while at the same time as having to go through the gameplay. So we have a few things that are going to get updated on this screen, like there's going to be a box behind the start and settings buttons, and which will open and close when you press a button. And the hummingbird feeder will go back and forth with the hummingbird following it. We have the animations for that, but we're having a little bit of trouble putting that into Unity. And when you boot up the game, as you can see, we can have it walking back and forth. We have an issue with the walking right, where the character kind of jumps a little bit, so I gotta fix that. We do have interactables, so you can click on items and they will read things. Unfortunately, the full image of the item doesn't always pop up. And one of the puzzles, you have to put a lot of the items in the places of the cardboard boxes, depending on what's actually in the boxes. So let's say you were to read one box in the moving truck and it were to say, there is my pet rock. You would put it in Delilah's room, and that's kind of why these boxes are placed here and why they say this is where blank boxes go. Sadly, you can walk through certain items. As of right now, we're still working on barriers, and yeah, like see how Delilah can walk right through the sink. Some of these captions are cute. I like this one. So this one's Delilah's room. Before it's furnished, I will say once you put all the boxes in the right places, the house will be fully furnished. So it'll be kind of like a reward for the player for having put everything in the right places, because they can walk around the house and see what's changed. And I thought this was a cute little tidbit in the game where if you click on this piece of the wall, it will say, did you really just click on a wall expecting something to happen? It's just to mess with the player, because I'm the type of player that goes around and clicks on everything, so I think if I were to run into something like that, it would make me smile. Oh, this weird thing where you walk through the bathroom into the backyard, yeah, that's just a temporary thing for the gameplay, because sadly we were having issues with that, so we'll be making it so that you can actually go through the front door and just pop up in the backyard, but that is in another update. And then here's the backyard. So I'm planning to put a lot of items in here, like we have an asset for a truck and for Delilah's mom, and a few others that I haven't been able to import yet, because it was creating a bit of bugs when I did last time. But oh, as you can see, I made a little turtle bush. It's kind of cute. And this patch of grass is actually shaped like a whale, but you kind of have to figure that out by walking around a bit, which plays into a puzzle later. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.